I'm here at CES Day 3 with Dr. Dustin Tyler from Afference. How are you doing today?
Doing great, thank you. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. So could you tell me more about Afference?
Yeah, so Afference is essentially enabling touch for the spatial computing era. And what we're doing is we do what's called neurohaptics. And so our device effectively interacts directly with the nervous system. So unlike other haptic approaches that place buzzers on the finger or press directly on the fingertip, we interact with the nerves at the base of the finger. And so from that we can provide stimulation that the brain still feels like it's coming from the finger.
Oh, that sounds really interesting. So what was the inspiration behind the product?
So all this work I've been doing for 30 years on how to communicate to the nervous system. For the last 10, we've been working with people with limb loss. And so in limb loss with the prosthesis, they don't have any sense of touch, and so when they grab something, they don't feel it. And to all of them, it still doesn't feel like their hand. What we've been doing is through stimulation of the residual nerves of their arm, we put a sensor on the prosthesis. When they touch it, they feel their finger, even though they don't even have a hand. And then they start to say, it's my hand in the prosthesis. And so we've wanted to take that same idea and say, well, virtual reality is kind of similar. We don't feel it. How do we add that touch of feel, or that sense of feeling? And so we take the same technology of communicating the nerve we did for limb loss, and now applying it for everybody by doing a non-invasive, a simple approach using surface stimulation.
That is a really fascinating journey. So what is the mission of your company?
So we think that touch is absolutely critical for interacting with both virtual and real world. As we move away from devices that have controllers and you want to use your hands in virtual space, the problem with that is you give up touch, right? There's no vibration, there's no controller left. And so how do you restore that touch, because it's critical to what we do? And so we want to be able to go seamlessly between a virtual and a real world. And so our form factor allows you to basically, this is our first year of work. We've done a pre-seed round, we're raising for a seed round. We want to take this down to more of a ring. So now I can imagine, like here, I can work in the real world, and then I can reach up and click a virtual screen sitting in space. So I don't have to make the choice between real or virtual. So that's one of our main areas of working on this. We also think that in the future, things like training has been very huge or very big, and so there's a lot of different areas of remote sensation, telepresence, telehaptics, and robotics. So there's a big area that we can go in this spatial computing era.
Okay, that's great. So is the product available currently?
We are not at a consumer level at this point. We just have our testing platform. What we're looking at now is we want to have development partners. And so we're not really a business to consumer version of product. We're looking for the partners so that we can integrate our technology, which is this neurohaptic element, into other technologies that exist.
Okay, so would you say you have any competitors in the field? And if so, how do you differentiate yourselves from them?
For sure, haptics is a really important thing, and people have recognized that we need to do that. Most of the devices that exist are either more of a vibrotactile, so you put like a buzzer on the fingertip, or ways of pressing on the finger through fluid haptics or otherwise. Those all cover your finger. Our competitive advantage is that you don't need to actually cover or remove your fingers from the real world. And so that's one aspect. We have no mechanical parts, so it's a fully electrical system. And while right now it has a kind of a buzzy feel to it, that's just the beginning for us. As we add more information that relates to the way the brain processes information, we can change what you feel. And so we have a much more broader runway, if you will, with the technology in terms of what you can feel and how it goes. So the biggest competition advantage for us is it's essentially transparent to the user. I wear a ring every day, and that's what we can do. It doesn't interfere with the world, and you can wear it anywhere and everywhere you go.
That's so great. So as a company, what would you say your goals for this year?
So our goal from this year, so last year our goal was to go basically to a platform device. And my co-founder and I last year were walking around looking at booths, seeing what was missing. We identified this, and within our first year we were able to win the Innovation of the Year award, which is a pretty good first year. So we're excited about that. What we want to do is take that and then go from a prototype and a concept device to a more distributable development kit that we can work with developers. So over our next year or so, we want to get partners to work with, either from game companies, content developers, or others that have use cases that we can connect with. We'd like to start working with large companies such as Samsung, Sony, or others to see how we can integrate with their new virtual reality and spatial computing devices that are coming out.
That's great. So you have a lot of goals for the upcoming year.
There's always a lot of goals as a startup, right?
Yeah.
But we really want to focus on making the neurohaptics a reality, and that means making the form factor distributable to developers to work with them. So we're going to make this available to people, development kits, and from a software side to engage haptics, as well as to a more refined working device.
Okay, so my final question is, how are you finding CES this year?
Busy as always. Although I've been here for probably 2 years now, and what I've seen is it picks up, it's getting busier and busier again, which is, it's always amazing. I mean, this year, for us in particular, the focus is on this extended reality, spatial computing. There's an awful lot of emphasis on these type of technologies. So we're excited to be part of that and able to hopefully move that revolution forward.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking part in the interview today.
Appreciate your time. Thanks for coming by and your interest.